We are still here in Champai, in the flower garden. For those of you from South Africa, up there in the Lowveld, Mpumalanga area, you know these flowers very well. Cosmos, I don't know it's actually in English, but anyhow, here's a lot of them as well. Kind of beautiful. They say that you need to pay to get in, but we haven't seen anybody asking for any money anyhow. So, well, here we are in the garden. And the ripe rice fields, they're harvesting the rice there in the back. Let's continue. Exodus chapter 17, verse 8. Then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. Right? So it's a new introduction. They were on their way to Rephidim. What happened then when they arrived at Rephidim? Not only the non-water, but their first war. The first war where they're going to fight. I mean, there was already a war but from God's side with Egypt. And then ultimately the 10 plagues and the destruction of Pharaoh in the Red Sea. But now, their first war. Remember, God didn't take them up the easy road because he wanted them to have some time to kind of get more used to be out before they start fighting a war. And as well at the same time destroy a whole of Pharaoh's army and all of that. And you can go and watch the other videos concerning how this all played out. So Amalek came out of nowhere. No real reason for them. You don't see that they did something. This area is not their land. They're not going to stay there and take the land away from Amalekites. They're on the way to Canaan. Oh yes, did the Amalekites know that? Maybe, maybe not. If you knew, they were super stupid. But on the other hand, you can kind of understand, right? When it's easier to abort a baby than to, after a baby is born, to kill the baby. Because for the one, you get, wow, great job, because now you have your life ahead of you. You don't need to worry about a zygote. And the other one is, oh, you'll be put in prison for murder. I personally don't see the difference, but anyhow, the world, the weird, unlogical world, sees a difference. Right, so it's what I'm trying to get at. It's easier to kill an unborn child than a born child, and repercussions of that. So they might have, right? These guys just left Egypt. Pharaoh and his guys are not going to come and help because they're dead. So who's left? And so it's easier for us now, while they just left, while they're not yet an army, while they haven't been training yet, to get rid of them. Even if there are a lot of them, a lot more than us, but since they're not trained, we are trained, we can still defeat them. And then we don't have a problem later on. Maybe that was their reasoning. Verse 9. So Moses said to Joshua, choose for us men and go out and fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I'll stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. And so you need to as well understand, it's the Amalekites who came out to fight against them. It's not they that went out and searched for a fight. These guys came to kill them. So now they need to defend themselves. There's just war. The whole, especially in the Reformed Church, this idea of a just war. Okay? When you don't just go out and attack other people just to attack other people, to start wars, like so many countries do. But if you're attacked, then it's a just war to defend yourself. It's like someone breaking into your house, you have the right to defend yourself. Okay? And this is kind of, so God tells Joshua now, we'll still see a lot of Joshua, that he needs to pick up these men and he needs to go and fight with Amalek. And that Moses himself will go and stand on top of this hill, right? Here's a hill. Okay, well, there are lots of hills out here in the back, right? Take it anywhere. It's like Moses is going to stand up on top of that hill and the fight is down here where the rice field is. Something like that. And he needs to go there and stand with his staff. No, I don't have a staff, right? And stand there on the hilltop with the staff of God. Of God, not his staff, not Moses' staff, God's staff. So like imagine Moses up there on the hilltop and the fight going down on below. Verse 10. So Joshua did as Moses told him and fought with Amalek, while Moses, Aaron and Hur went up to the top of the hill. So we'll see Joshua always does what Moses and then later on what God tells. Right? And he went out to fight against Amalek. And at the same time, Moses, Aaron and Hur, not Ben-Hur, but just Hur, went from down here where they were like, and going up and climbed the hill. And then they were up on top of the hill. Verse 11. Whenever Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed. And whenever he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. No, I mean, that is kind of easy. Holding up the hand, as God said, they are winning. Lowering their hand, because he's old, he gets tired. I mean, stand like that. A Statue of Liberty can stand like that because she's not human, right? But if you try stand like that, see how long you can stand, especially if you're still holding up a staff. I mean, you'll be able to hold it like, I don't know, I can try, but I don't have the time to stand here now till I get tired, and you can see how long I've been standing. So that's a waste of time for you. And kind of for me as well, because we're people that brought us here, we need to pay by the hour for them. So anyhow, yeah, while this is happening, winning, not losing. That's just that, plain simple. So there's a power in the staff of Moses' staff. Firstly, it's God's staff, and the power is not. It shows again the dependence. While they're doing as God said, God gives victory. The moment they lower the staff and not doing as God said, they're losing the battle. Verse 12, but Moses' hand grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it, while Aaron and Hur held up his hands on one side, one on one side and the other on the other side. So these guys came up, Aaron and Hur came up with a brilliant plan. I mean, kind of a logical plan. This guy can't stand, so we need to do something. There's nothing said concerning that other people can't help him. It's all that Moses needs to hold out his staff, the staff. Nothing about that other people, or they can put something on their hand or something like that. So what these guys did is they got a stone, again, no stones that I can see here. They put it under him. Moses sat down, at least, because as well, standing long. I'm as well not one of those people who can stand very long. My feet might be too flat and it starts killing me. I've always found it very interesting when I'm preaching. I can't, in general, just stand like 5 minutes. My feet kills me. But when I'm preaching, by the grace of God, I can preach for an hour and even more, and all fine, like I'm doing now. Well, none of these. Well, I've done a few that's kind of close to an hour, but broke them up anyhow. So it makes sense. You get tired, sit down on a rock. First place, you can't just. So I mean, and then just imagine a guy standing and you trying to hold up his hands a lot more as well, because for your hands will get very tired. So sit him down, that is kind of more like here, then it's a lot easier for you to hold up his hands as well. You don't need to hold up your hands like that straight either. And this is what they did. One on one side, the other on the other side, sat him down, holding up the staff. Oh, yes, well, again, this is a very long verse, so I'll read it again because it's the last part I think I missed. But Moses, verse 12, but Moses' hand grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it, while Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side. So his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. So because of that, the help of Aaron and Hur in this, his hands were steady the whole time, right? Otherwise, I mean, his hands were like, and his hand need to be up for them to win. Otherwise, they will just lose the whole battle. It's one thing for a little bit. I mean, I need to rest a little bit. Give me something to drink. Like, and there are 10 people were killed just that time. I took a little sip of water. I mean, I think you might say, okay, I don't want to drink now. It's fine. Let them, rather than 10 people dying. 10 people on the other side still going to die, but anyhow. Verse 13, and Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the sword. So he held up his hands in, Aaron and Hur helped him, and ultimately Joshua overwhelmed the enemy. It's a just war because these guys came and attacked them. And so God, again, by provision, like with the manna, in the morning, they go and they had to collect not more, not less, 6 days. On the 6th day, 5th day, that is 6th day for the 7th day, twice as much. They had to show the dependence upon God. And in this case as well, the dependence, while they're holding up, they're winning. Letting it down, they're losing. Showing the dependence, in not only for food, but in victory in a war, self-protection in this case now, their dependence upon God. This ought to have been a lesson to them. In every battle they're going to do, while they're with God, doing what God says, they're winning. When they're not doing what God says, they're losing. I mean, that's kind of, then do what God says and you won't have problems. But we humans,